So yesterday I posted a video, kind of like what a day is like around here, and yeah, so I came in yesterday, and one of the tires on the forklift was flat, and I said, okay, fair enough, it happens. So I come in to recharge the air compressor, and then had a problem with the air compressor. The discharge line from the compression cylinder to the tank was cracked, and I was going to fix that, just use some tape or something just to close up that crack so I could get the tire filled. Well, when I took it off, it just came apart in my hands, two pieces. So I ran around for hours yesterday trying to find a replacement for it and couldn't find one. And I finally ended up at this old guy's welding shop out in the sticks that could weld aluminum. I have neither the experience nor the equipment to weld aluminum, but he did. He took care of it for me. Great. Got back here, got it all assembled, or almost got it assembled, and realized that one of the rubber O-rings that goes on the end of that line is gone. Looked through all of my stuff, couldn't find one anywhere, so I had to go to the auto parts store to buy a package of O-rings to replace that one O-ring. Came back, put it on there, air compressor charged up, worked perfectly, aired up the tire, went back to work. So I was cutting yesterday, and on the mill, the hydraulics were acting kind of funny. They had kind of a stutter to them. And so I popped open the control box. I checked to make sure that there's hydraulic fluid in there. It's at the proper level. I'm not losing hydraulic fluid or anything like that. And then I take a look at the contact strip on the side of the mill. And last week, the hydraulics were giving me a little bit of trouble. And so I pulled that contact strip out. I pulled the brass bar for the power out. And I pulled the brass connector for the ground out of there. Brought them into the shop, cleaned them up, got them spotless, put it all back together. It didn't necessarily solve the problem. Go figure. But, as we do when we're busy, we hope things work, and we just go back to it. So I milled yesterday. This morning I come in, and an order gets placed for some 2x4s. Okay, great. So I go pull the logs for that, cut those up. No problem. The hydraulics are a little bit stuttery, though, while I'm doing it. And so, all right, well, I've got to finish these orders. I've got to get this stuff done, and then I can sit down and I can investigate it. And so I get the 2x4s done, get that out the door, throw an oak log on, cut it up into 4 8x8s, get it off the mill, get it stacked, grab another oak log out, throw it on the mill, get 3 sides faced, and I rotate it to the unfaced side so that I can face that off. And when it rotates, it jars the mill because, it's a big oak log and it's going to jar the mill. But when it did, the hydraulics went dead. Crap. So I checked the contact strip again. I checked the ground. I pulled out the multimeter, checking it. I'm getting power. I'm getting ground. I'm getting continuity. That's working. So I pop open the control box for the hydraulics, and I start fiddling with everything, flipping the levers, trying to get something. I realize there's no clicking sound coming. Normally when you operate hydraulics, you hear a clicking sound. Okay. So the first thing I do, after just, a visual inspection on the inside, is start testing with the multimeter. Start testing for continuity, and then start testing for power. And to the solenoid, I'm getting power. That comes from the contact strip on the side of the mill. All right, cool. But then I test for continuity across the ground and the power. I'm getting continuity across the solenoid. Solenoid. I keep saying solenoid. It's solenoid. So I'm getting continuity. Okay. But no click sound. So I switched it to testing for voltage. Pop it on the hot. Pop it on the ground. Actuate the lever. Nothing. So the solenoid is dead. Well, let me rephrase. It is either stuck closed, stuck open, or it's just dead. So a solenoid is multiple posts, right? So usually, I think on this you have a 3-poster. One is the ground, one is your constant hot, and then one goes out to the motor that you're charging. And what happens is, on the inside, there's a coil, and there's a bar, and there's a copper strip. And when you flip the switch, the coil magnetizes, the bar moves forward, takes that copper strip, and it connects the hot post to the post going out to your motor, right? I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that sounds right. Could be wrong. Sounds right. So, if, for instance, you go to actuate your hydraulics, and when you release it, your hydraulics are still running, you can still hear the motor going, that probably means that either the micro switch that completes the circuit is bad and it's staying closed, or your solenoid is staying closed, meaning that you have those 2 posts and that copper bar is making contact between the 2 of them, and you're transmitting electricity from the hot over to the motor. In this particular instance, that bar is not making the contact, so there's no power going from the hot over to the motor. When you actuate these things, that's what creates that click sound when you do it. So you pull that lever, you hear a click right before the motor kicks on. And it's the solenoid that does that. So magnetize, bar moves, copper contact, click, remove the power or break the circuit. The coil demagnetizes, the diode that's in there absorbs the voltage spike. Yeah, pretty sure. Yeah, the diode absorbs the voltage spike from that collapse, and the bar goes back, and the contact is broken. So it's open again. There's no click. None at all. So, the diode may be shot. Not 100% sure of that. Or the solenoid has gone bad. So that's what I spent the last 2.5 hours working on, trying to figure it out, debug it, trying to get what was going on. So here's the big problem with it. If I had a spare solenoid on hand, it's a 10-minute fix. Just disconnect the wires, pop the old one out, put the new one in, put the wires back on, close everything up, go back to work. I don't have a spare solenoid. I also found out that of the few shops around here where I might be able to get a solenoid, those won't work because the solenoid on these mills is wound a little different, and it has power to ground. Most solenoids do not have power to ground. So it looks like I have to get one from Wood-Mizer. They're not expensive. They're, I think, like 58 or 60 bucks from Wood-Mizer. But here's where the problem occurs. I've got to get this order out the door by Friday. And if I order it from Wood-Mizer, my understanding is right now, nothing is shipping very quickly. So I could order it and order it overnight, but it might be a week or 2 weeks before it even gets here just because of the backlog that they have right now. So my only real hope is that either Wood-Mizer, Georgia or Wood-Mizer, North Carolina has one in stock and I can go get it. Neither one is a short trip. Wood-Mizer, Georgia is about 3 hours south of here. And Wood-Mizer, North Carolina, I think is like 4.5 hours east of here, over the mountains. So either way, if I go to either one of them, my day is shot. If they don't have one, then that means it's in Indianapolis, which means that if I drive to Indianapolis, which is not a short trip, I think it's like 6 hours or something like that, 5 or 6 hours, I can't remember now, because I have to go up to Knoxville, which is an hour and change away, and then swing east and go up to Kentucky, and then all the way across Kentucky, and then turn north and go up to Indianapolis. I've been there. I've been to the Wood-Mizer Indianapolis facility, and they were nice enough. It was actually pretty awesome because they're not open to tours, and they don't have a retail location there. But because I was a Wood-Mizer owner, they were nice enough to actually bring out, their head sales guy, and I got a tour of the entire facility. And in fact, I got to check out the Wood-Mizer 3500 before it even hit the market. Like, look, you can't talk to anybody about this. You can't tell anybody, that you're seeing this, and a bunch of stuff. I saw a bunch of stuff that I wasn't supposed to talk about until after it released. And of course, all of the things that I saw have now been released, and, now I can say it. But they were really cool. I mean, my wife and I went across the entire place, through the factory, you name it. And we saw all kinds of groovy stuff. They were testing some stuff. They had some huge equipment, some Titan equipment in from Africa that they were working on, and all kinds of groovy stuff, man. It was actually pretty awesome. And it actually made my day better because we had been in Michigan for my wife's grandmother's funeral. And the day after the funeral, I got sick. I mean, sick as a dog, like 103 fever, not doing well. And so I was still sick on the way back. But, pumped some B12 in and got to go check out the facility. Anyway, I've been there. I know how long of a drive it is. It would be a long drive. So I'm screwed right now. That's what it's like around here. Any of you guys that actively work with heavy equipment, with sawmills, you name it. You work in wood shops, you work in mechanic shops, you work with or on heavy equipment, you work with or on sawmills. You know, there's always maintenance that has to get done. There's always something that's breaking. There's always something that's going wrong. And for me, being a one-man shop, I have to take care of everything. And, if something's got to be welded, that's me. As long as it's not aluminum. Can't weld aluminum. But, if I've got to weld something back together on the forklift, if something's wrong with the sawmill, I'm the guy that's got to diagnose it. I'm the guy that's got to fix it. Yeah. So everything, I'm the guy. And so, yeah, it's this kind of stuff that causes you downtime. And, I could have probably busted out, I don't know, 20 or 30 more 8x8s today. But instead, I had to spend 2 hours, figuring out what was going on with the mill. And then not milling. And now I've been shut down for the rest of the day. And that means I won't be able to come in here tomorrow either. Monday's a holiday. Oh, crap! So, none of the Wood-Mizer locations are going to be open on Monday. I'm screwed. Yep. Maybe if I come in here tomorrow and I pull the solenoid off, maybe if I'm really lucky, I can actually take it apart and see if it's actually dead or not. I don't know. I didn't pull it off of there. Yep. See, this is the thing you don't see when it comes to woodworking videos and sawmilling videos and you name it. None of us content creators, I won't even call myself a content creator because I don't put out enough videos for you guys anymore. But you all don't see that it's constant. It's just a constant stream of crap. Hydraulic lines going out, or blades breaking, or tires going flat, or customers that come in the door and they want to spend an hour talking to you about the barn that their uncle's, cousin's, niece's, nephew's, friend's great aunt and uncle built in 1943, out of poplar, and it's still standing, and taking up an hour of your time while it's 96 degrees outside. You guys don't get to see all of that stuff. We don't really show it to you, or where coming into work my truck starts acting up or something, so I've got to spend half the day trying to figure out what's going on with my truck and dealing with that instead of running the mill. You guys don't get to see the paperwork that has to get done in here, and the accounting that has to get done, and dealing with log vendors, and dealing with brokers, and all the fun stuff. And in an average day, I talk to brokers, I talk to log suppliers, I talk to maybe 3 or 4 customers on the phone. Some of them are, legit They need some milling done or they want some lumber. Some of them are people trying to sell me trees. Some of them are people that want me to come out and take a look at their trees, or tell me, another sawmill that will buy their material, their logs, what have you. So I deal with all those, all the phone calls that come in, the paperwork that has to get done, the shipping that gets done, the log intakes that get done, the payments that have to go out, the deposits to the bank that have to go, and then I actually get to do some milling, and tires go flat on the forklift, gotta fix it. Air compressors go out, gotta fix it. Something needs to be welded, gotta fix it. Blades have to get sharpened, gotta sharpen the blades. Yeah, so, all of this stuff, when my sawdust bags fill up, got to pull a bag out, got to take it out front, and then put a new bag in, clean all that crap up, deal with that. Got to stack all the lumber myself, so I cut 8x8s. Maybe I only get one out of a log, but I get 10 pieces of 4/4 material from the sides and what have you. That's all got to get stacked and stickered, so get that off the mill, get it stacked and stickered, then get the 8x8 off and get it stacked, get everything squished in together and butted up right so that I can come back and chop everything at 8 feet. Got to do that too, and then go get the next log, put it on, rinse and repeat. So when you have the problems with the mill, that's what ends up happening. Got to diagnose the problems, got to fix the problems, got to run around town trying to find parts and everything else under the sun. And yeah, so it's a lot. It is a lot. So any of you out there that are interested in going into the sawmilling business for yourself, understand this, that unless you are just making absolute crazy money hand over fist and can afford to just pay other people to do stuff and afford to spend thousands of dollars on having tons of spare parts sitting on the shelf just in case something happens, this is the kind of stuff you're going to go through. And, these YouTube channels, I love watching them. I have dozens of sawmilling and woodworking YouTube channels that I watch all the time. But rarely, and I mean rarely, is it ever that they show you the crap that goes on as well as, the good stuff. You have 12 to 20 minutes, give or take, and you want to put out the best content you can, and it's about this beautiful log, or about this monster log that you cut, or, this beautiful bandsaw box that you made, or these jigs that you're making to do stuff with. What you don't ever actually see is all the maintenance and all the repairs and everything else that goes into a day of doing this full time. I do this 6 days a week, and so it's just nonstop. It's nonstop. Yeah, so just be aware. I'm screwed. Have a good one.